3rd down and 4. Lunch under some pressure, and he's going down. Dalton Hughes, the guy that wrapped around the backside and is able to bring Lunch Winfield down, and that'll force a field goal attempt. That's a win for South Alabama's defense right there.
Yeah, that's huge right here. He doesn't give up on him. He comes up. Looks like he's going to miss him, but Dalton Hughes doesn't give up on the play and circles back around and makes.
What'd you get done during the bye week that you were looking to get done? How do you think about it?
Yeah, at week 9, or it's not week 9, but you know what I'm saying, it's late in the season. This is a very late bye week. Usually you get an earlier bye week somewhere in the first 5 weeks of the season. You get an opportunity to truly work some of your younger guys. You're not as banged up early in the season as you are late in the season. When you start getting late in the season, you've got 3 games left, especially with the roster limitations and things like that have popped up now. It's hard to go out there and traditionally say, all right, we're going to practice our scout team and all of our freshmen. Hell, that's the group that you practice against the next 3 weeks. So if you go out there and bang all those guys up, then the next 3 weeks you don't have much of a team to practice with. You don't have very good depth on your special teams. You may not have good depth on your defense. That being said, we didn't full scrimmage live tackle, but we did get all those guys reps, try to stay up, thud in those situations so they can get plays, get their eyes on things, hear the verbiage, and get out there and function. So it was good on the off week to get some younger guys, some, I don't want to call them scrimmage reps, but they were live reps without tackle. It was good to get those. There's some special teams stuff that we focused on, but truthfully, you go out on the field for what you need at this point in the season. You're not talking about week 4, week 5, where, hey, let's go get this young, Deuce Vance, who's a freshman. Let's go get him 15, 20 snaps of scrimmage play because we may, use him week 9, 10, 11, 12. We didn't have that availability. You're all the way now where you've got corners that are dinged up, that if you go scrimmage him and get him dinged up, now you have nobody to go in. So I would love an earlier bye week than week 10, week 11 next year. That would be great for our football team. But that's kind of what you do with a bye week this late in the season.
Where you at with Jordan Davis in terms of his availability?
He practiced last week. Should be available.
When Kenton kind of got pressed into duty and had not been a tackle, how do you think he held up?
I thought he did great. It reminded me of the bowl game when Dante Lucas got hurt in pregame and he had to start at guard against Eastern Michigan. So he's used to it. It's twice he's been down there and team warm-up drills and been told 30 seconds before he went in, hey, you're starting now, and you're starting at this position instead of the one you actually play. So it's phenomenal you got somebody that will respond like that.
What about ULM, both sides of the ball, what sticks out?
Just defensively, because that's what I watch the most. Defensively, big up front, big linebackers, big D linemen. They play the game the right way. They fly around, they hit you. Physical front. I think they do a good job of pressuring, understanding when to pressure, what looks, formations to pressure. Offensively, just sharp, execute, clean. I don't see a lot of wasted plays, wasted snaps. I just see a very sound offense, coached well, good backs. They don't run the same, but you can tell they're coached by the same person. They run similarly. They have different traits, different skills, but I think they've got really good backs, and I think they do a good job of executing.
You've been up there a couple times. People always talk about how it's different than a lot of places. Did you sense that?
Every stadium has its own nuances. In the Sun Belt, we typically don't walk into jam-packed stadiums, and that's okay. I don't think it's much different. I think you can make a lot out of a little, in terms of just focusing on locker room size or, crowd attendance. Once the game starts, you don't really look above 6 or 7 feet. You're on the sideline with your players. You're playing the game. So I think for some of the guys that don't handle, that may be immature and don't understand how to go into a stadium or get on a bus and be it maybe a smaller town than Atlanta, maybe you need to talk to those guys, but I'd say the other 90% of the team is fine. It's just another bus trip. It's another stadium. I do think their fans support their team. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. It's hard for us in Sun Belt leagues to get jam-packed stadiums. And so sometimes when you go on the road, you got to kind of bring your own energy, bring your own juice, and understand that, how you play and how you execute is going to create your own momentum on the sideline.
How anxious are our guys to get back on the field and start playing again after a bye week?
I felt it today at practice. There was energy. It was cold as hell out there this morning for guys from the South, but they were excited to go practice and practice hard. There's spirit in practice. There's competition, competitiveness in the practice. So it seemed like the off week that we had in terms of going out there for what we need to do, as opposed to just saying, all right, we hit the 2.5 hour mark. We've been out here, we've practiced. I think that helped rejuvenate their minds and their bodies a little bit. And I thought they had a really good practice today. We'll go out there tomorrow with some pads on and bang around and get more of the physical part of it. And but they were in good spirits. They had a good practice this morning.
ULM, what jumps out about them?
Do a great job running. Run game really good. Obviously, two really good backs. They got 4 really good backs. They do a great job in the run game. It's going to be outside zone, similar to our last game, which I thought we did a good job against the run last game. Probably our best output. I think it was right around 3.5 yards a carry. It was one of our better games against the run. So just carrying over some of that. We had some good bye week practices in terms of setting edges and things like that. But we got to do a great job against the outside zone and some of the split zone things they're running. So it's the run game, and then when they're going to pass, they do a good job. It's one of the better offensive lines we've seen, in my opinion. I think they're very well coached, especially their center does a great job. And so they're gonna run the ball. They're gonna play action is going to be a huge thing for them. I would imagine we'll probably get some glances off the RPOs after last week, some of those type things. So we've got some things that we took attention to in the bye week to get fixed. So looking to continue to improve on those things.
I don't know. I don't know if their second quarterback's healthy, but they have played 2.
Yeah.
What's the difference in those?
It's a lot of similarities. I mean, they're going to run what they run in that regard with the run game and the RPOs and some of the move the pocket type passes that they're getting. Those guys are athletic and they're running, some power read and different things like that to get the ball on the perimeter. And but we're going to have to do a good job. They shift and motion a good bit, so I think a lot of carryover from what our offense showed us in fall camp and different times of playing against what Coach Petrino and Coach Applewhite do, and so I think that's going to help us, and we've got to do a great job communicating on the back end, making sure we're on the same page, same word, all of those different things in terms of getting through the down.
Braylon obviously is one of those running backs.
Yeah.
We have experience against him, but what are some of the things that he does so well?
Yeah, I mean, he can make you miss in a phone booth. Just his ability to stick his foot in the ground and change direction. He's a dynamic runner, and obviously he'll probably have a little bit of juice for this one, getting to play, the hometown school, the place he was. So, I think it's huge for our guys just in terms of holding leverage, because at the end of the day, if a lot of defense, almost all of defense, is knowing where your help is. And as long as we know where our help is and we can leverage that and keep our if I'm a right shoulder player, I keep it on my right shoulder. If I'm a left shoulder player, I keep it on my left shoulder. And, we play a lot of post safety defense. And so that alley runner's got to do a good job of taking an inside out path and not allowing that thing to cut back, because that's when you can get in trouble.
What jumps out at you about ULM?
The biggest thing you worry about is their defensive ends. I think of their defensive front, period. I think that's the strength of their defense. I think both ends, 5 just plays with an unbelievable motor, plays hard, always gives great effort, strong, good with his hands. And then 1, both edge guys are good, and then they're just really big inside. So their inside guys just do a good job of using their hands and 2-gapping and trying to keep their linebackers freed up. So definitely the strength is our defensive front.
Did you feel like you guys were able to accomplish during the bye week?
I think we got a lot of good, work done, kind of 2-phase. 1, we got our young guys a lot of reps, so that was good. We got a lot of work with them, and they improved. And then I think with the older guys, we had really good fundamentals, got better at that, got better at just the simple throwing and catching and our fits and how we're going to execute our run game. So I think it was good work for us. I think we got a lot accomplished.
Mentally, where is this team right now?
We've been practicing hard. We had good weeks of practice last week. We had a good one this morning. I think they show their character. They have high character. They go out there and practice hard every day, and I believe we've improved our last 4 practices. So we just got to finish it out the rest of this week and then go out there and do it on game day and do it at all the crucial moments to make sure we come away with the win.